Send me the Myron brother clip instead of saying
that. The whole village is very friendly.
Let me see that. Get your KCIP activated. Yeah, I'm not making anything from KCIP. I'll show you.
You know, relatively devout. I do take the...
This is Myron's brother. I didn't know Myron had a brother. This is who we should see the after hours with. Wouldn't you guys... Put a W in the chat right now. If for Fresh and Fit after hours, you would rather see Myron and his brother. Myron and his GOAT brother, who's a devout Muslim. Put a W in the chat right now. Hey, Myron, look. Someone clip this up. Look how many W's right now. This is the show. This is the co-host. 2 Myrons? The power level's insane. You got 1 devout Muslim and 1 secular Muslim. Look at that. Look at all the W's right now. There's not 1 L. There's not anybody sliding for the... That's the show. Look how happy he is, too. Myron has like the proud older brother look. I know this look. I need that. We need fresh... We need fit and fit. Fit and fit. Fit and fit. You ain't what? I'm watching that. I'm watching that. Every night.
Religion, pretty serious and very proud to be Muslim, but, you know, I haven't memorized the Quran. I've read through it.
He's a
I've read
Hafiz.
through a lot of the Bible. Religion does interest me, and so I do like to get into comparative religion and things like that. So this kind of plays into this topic, but ultimately we were discussing whether the United States is a Christian country or not. I do believe that the U.S. is a Christian country, but...
Never mind. I'm joking.
In a very specific context, that's really important to highlight. Obviously, the law that we use to govern our country has, you can argue it has some motivation or inspiration from the Bible or the oxymoronical term Judeo-Christian values. But I do believe the U.S. is a Christian country because of things like WASP, right? White Anglo-Saxon Protestant men who did find this country and build it up from what it was to what it became until...
Yeah, it's funny. They say he says WASP, but that's not Catholic, right? Like immediately, there you go. White Anglo-Saxon Protestant men built this country, right? So what about Catholics? What about Catholics, huh? Catholics, are you in the chat right now? I'd say the majority of the new American right movement, they're Catholic. They're not evangelical. They're not any of this. They're Catholic. The Protestants and the Catholic were at war so much. It's part of the reason that America exists is because there was all this division in Europe. The Catholics and the Protestants were at war for hundreds of years in Ireland. They don't see each other. They don't see each other as the same. They never have. They never have. So... if you're going to say it's then you got to specify. Is it a Catholic country or a Protestant country? Okay, I want to watch both of his clips. Let's see.
Immigration, which I really want to get into right now. This is not so PG. But the first thing that I like to go over, and right now I'm looking, sorry, I know the camera's right here, but I can see my camera here, my screen here. The first thing that I like to get into is the U.S. Constitution obviously makes no reference of, you know, Christianity or anything like that, and there is a separation of church and state. But the culture and the societal norms that this country is founded on, this country stands for today, are more closer to Christianity than anything else. I was just telling my brother the other day, like, being a Muslim in the U.S. does mean, to some degree, you're not necessarily outcasted, but you're definitely an anomaly, and you're definitely a lot more rare to come across. I mean, even at work, when I step away to pray or anything like that, I'm bombarded with questions. And, you know, in one instance, I remember I was praying, and this is all going to tie back, but this is just a funny example. And this is to drive my point home, because I think we take this conversation too literally rather than from a general context. But I remember when I was praying in one of the rooms in my building, somebody had passed by, and they thought that I was obviously Muslims pray like this, and they were like, they came to me later on in lunch, and they were like, what were you doing? Were you thinking? And I was like, wow, like, a lot of people have no clue about Islam or anything like that. So
True.
It's just really hard to say that this isn't a Christian country. One may argue it's a secular country, but I just disagree. And the reason for that, and something that's kind of common in Islam, is the question of, you know, meat being permissible in the United States. And anytime scholars ask this, like maybe Saleh al-Fawzan or a student of knowledge like Asma Hakim, they go on and say, well, because the United States is
what is that, Christian, bro? What the fuck?
By culture and practice, they may not be the most religious, but they do affiliate with the religion. Their meat is halal or permissible. Obviously, there's a difference of opinion on this. Please, let's not get too into the weeds. It's very nuanced and a very, very debated about topic, and it's super hot. So just take that at face value. And they call the United States a Christian country. And obviously, my brother here had put up that clip on Twitter, but there's other clips that you can find on YouTube of scholars mentioning that the United States, if you have a hard time finding halal meat, maybe if you live in the Bible Belt or something like that.
Yo, Myron's brother's really well spoken. He looks like this is like the YN version of Myron. He got the waves. He just had the wave cap on. Obviously, he's smart and everything like that, but he looks like if Myron was a Crip.
Then you can make do with the meat that is slaughtered by the Christians or the Jews, which are considered people of the book, but obviously they make up a minority of the United States as well.
Would you say that the general consensus route is that when it comes, like most scholars, I guess maybe, because I know you said it's a contested topic, but would it be fair to say that most scholars agree that the United States is a Christian country?
Yeah, certainly. From a cultural aspect, absolutely. And I think that's the most important thing to mention, is that the United States is culturally Christian, but secularly or legally it's secular. And that's a good distinction, actually. Legally it's secular, but culturally it's Christian. That's a good distinction there. Right, and that stems from the fact that Protestantism is kind of the majority denomination in this country. And what you'll...
Speaking of, so this is what I have an issue with. If you guys see the, I'm going to continue playing it. Look at this clip. Look at this clip right here. Did you see this?
Duck, duck, goose. Duck, duck, goose. I'm mocking your religion
Ready for Kick to laugh at that?
because you're bowing towards a stupid pedophile's grave who you need Jesus, our Father.
No. They pray towards Mecca, not Medina. The prophet's grave is in Medina, idiot. Also, like, they're not bothering anybody. They're praying outside. And a lot of these people, they only seem to remember their religion when they see Muslims. They forget how Christian they are until they're around Muslims. They're praying just like how Jesus prayed. Jesus did the exact same prayer, putting his head to the floor like this. Why don't, instead, when you see people praying, instead of getting upset that they're holding their religion strongly, why don't you pray more? No, Muslims don't see Christians pray and get upset like this. That's a fact.
Towards a stupid pedophile's grave who you need Jesus, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread and forgive us our
Like, that nigga probably didn't even pray the whole week. The first time he's praying is when he sees Muslims pray.
sins.
Like,
as
that's
we
he's saying the Our Father.
forgive
prayer.
those who sin against us. And lead us not
Like, literally, this is the retarded shit. Listen to the words of this prayer.
us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from Islam.
It's deliver us from evil, you fake Christian. It's not deliver us from Islam. The prayer is deliver us from evil.
Our sins, as we forgive those who sin against us.
As we forgive those who sin against us. If you follow the teachings of Jesus and literally the words of the prayer that you're repeating, you forgive those. You're loving. You love everyone the way Jesus did. That's what Christianity teaches. You're a forgiving person. Is this what forgiving is? Is this what loving is? Interrupting a prayer? It's not obstructing or bothering anybody. It's a quiet prayer in a parking lot where nobody else is around. Fuck this guy.
And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from Islam. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. There's only one name under heaven by which a man can be saved, and it's Jesus. It's not Muhammad. It's not a pervert pedophile who married a 6-year-old girl and killed and pillaged and raped entire countries in order to take them to its knees. And it's not going to happen in Texas. It's not going to happen in the United States of America.
It's spreading. I mean, whether or not they try to stop it, Islam is the fastest growing religion. It's here. There's nothing you're going to do about it. So I recommend just, getting closer to your religion. And, hey, 7K is 7K.
Find the Protestant faith, the way they go about the religion is that I've heard many label it this way, and they don't all say this, but it's a relationship with Christ, if you will, quote unquote, rather than a religion governed by laws and things like that, which Islam very much is. Islam is a religion of course, Islam covers everything. That's why I follow Islam, because I feel like it misses no mark. But in the Christian faith, they don't really have a set of laws or anything like that. That's kind of fulfilled with the crucifixion and things of that nature. I don't want to get too in the weeds of that, but that's kind of how they go about it. So,
yeah, there is no Christian law. It doesn't exist. And I'm not saying that to rage bait people. That's just a fact. The beginning of the Quran, I recommend people read it if you haven't. The beginning of the Quran is all the laws. It describes how to govern a society and how we should act and how we should treat each other. That's the whole beginning. Christianity doesn't have that.
Legal standpoint, no, it's not necessarily Christian, but from a cultural standpoint, from a societal norm standpoint, it is 100% Christian. I think to say otherwise is a little bit disingenuous. Does that mean, and I think Muslims hear that, I think that means that they don't have a place here. No, obviously you have a place here.
Yeah, they get so mad, dude. They think like you're trying to little bro them or shit on them, be like, get out of my country or some shit like that when you say that.
Yeah, and of course, the way you go about it is funny. Sometimes it's a bit of rage bait and they get mad.
Neon coin went public. Somebody send me the tracker. How's it doing? How's the Neon coin doing? I talked to Neon last night. He's doing good. He's doing good.
Like in the UAE or so on and so forth, and
do they follow strict Sharia? UAE? Probably not, right?
No.
They do follow a form of Sharia.
Okay.
They do.
Okay.
They follow pretty much Saudi, the UAE, and many of those Gulf countries do follow Sharia law.
Are they cutting hands off if you steal?
It works.
Are they cutting hands off if you steal shit? Like that type Sharia?
So Sharia is all dependent on what a ruler is going to say. So there's no one size fits all kind of answer. If somebody steals for a really petty or stupid reason, then potentially that could be the punishment. But if somebody's stealing because, let's say, they're hungry, or somebody's stealing because of, I don't want to say a justified reason, but a lot closer to a justified reason than a kind of violent and unexplainable reason, then in that case, it's brought to the court, to the ruler, and then he makes a decision based on the context surrounding that. And that's how Sharia works.
Yeah, it was cool. That's cool. His brother's really well spoken. I think that they should Man, I would watch that show. I'd watch that show. Oh, there's someone else that I wanted to respond to. There's